All right, here we go. I'm Blair and I'm an alcoholic, and I've never spoken for this long or had it been recorded, so please bear with me. I prayed before, so hopefully a message of hope will come out. So I do have a sponsor. My sobriety date is June 4th of 2019. This is my second go around in Alcoholics Anonymous. I tried to get sober for the first time when I was 29, and it didn't work out. So I'm here today, and how I got here was I was 29. My life was a mess, drinking all the time, using all the time, and I was at counseling one day and my counselor said, why don't you try to go to AA and see if we can straighten some stuff out? And I said, I don't want to go there. I don't have a drinking problem. Are you crazy? I know I got other problems, but that's not the problem. No, like, that's a solution. That's not the problem. And he said, just let's try something different. And I didn't think I was an alcoholic, because when I drink, I'm a blackout drinker and I don't remember. As soon as I pick up a drink, I have no idea what's going to happen in my life. All bets are off. And if I don't remember it happening and you tell me it did, I'm going to go find new friends because you're a liar, right? I don't, that's not, and, I went, I'm so nervous. It'll be fine. But so my counselor had said, why don't you try to go to some AA meetings? And I knew I had drug problems and I knew I had men problems. And he said, find a meeting in the neighborhood. If you don't know where to look, we can look for one together. And he said, no drugs and no guys. Right. So I leave counseling and I go to Dunkin' Donuts to get a coffee. And there's the guy on a motorcycle with the most beautiful blue eyes I'd ever seen in my whole life. I said, I'm in trouble. Right. This is not going to go well at all. And I give this guy my number and we talk for a couple of weeks. And, I don't tell my counselor, right, because I'm a people pleaser and all of this. And I hear this guy that I've been talking to say one day, I hear someone in the background say, are you going to go to the next meeting or are you going to go see your mom? And there's a bunch of motorcycles there. And this is how God works in my life, right? Because out of my mouth comes, what kind of meeting are you going to? Because I had made poor decisions my whole life. And now I think I'm going to get jammed up in all this train wreck. And I think that's the first time like God really spoke through me and said, ask him what kind of meeting he's going to. And this guy said, I'm going to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. And I said, yes, I did it. I need to go there. Can I go with you? And that's how I came to AA the first time, because God knows I wasn't going to walk through these doors alone. There's no way I was coming through this door by myself. I couldn't. I was so ashamed of the person that I had become. Got kids, I gave them away. 3 kids, needed them all. Nowhere to be found. Other than at the bar stool, right? Poor me. Those kids needed a mom. They didn't have one. I would come home sometimes and thank God I lived in a complex where there was other people there, because sometimes I didn't know where my kids were. The neighbors brought them home and I'm like, oh, thank God. Because that drink was so powerful. It came before anything. And the shame and the guilt of the decisions that alcohol made in my life. Because as soon as I start drinking, alcohol makes my whole life. I have no say anymore. And I realized that when I came to AA, it took a little while though, because I'm stubborn. I don't want to. You tell me to go left, I'm going to go right. That's just how it goes, right? And I had met this, well, the first meeting that I went to was a Wednesday night meeting, and you walk in and there's a raffle table, and this guy had known everyone, right? And I didn't know anyone. So I'm standing there at the raffle table, and all these women come up to me and surround me and give all, numbers and hugs, and I'm just cringing. Because I hated women, because I hated me, but I didn't know that at the time, and he just went off, and I'm just standing there with all these women shaking, and that's really the only thing I remember about that meeting. But I wanted the dude, right? So I went to meetings with the guy, and I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea. And but that fog started to clear, and I knew I belonged there, right? Because I heard other people say, my kids were on the back burner too. I had made a mess of my life too. And it's not like that anymore. And if you take some of these suggestions, we do this together. And that was scary, because I didn't, I was broken. I didn't think there was anything that could help me, right? I had gone down too far. But that wasn't true. That wasn't true. People in Alcoholics Anonymous had everything that I wanted, but I was so scared that I was going to fail, that someone's going to find out who I really am, right? And they did, and they let me stay, because we're all the same. And I didn't know that, but this woman came up to me and she said, we're going to read the black print on the white page in this book of Alcoholics Anonymous. They're usually blue, but I could study one, so it's maroon. But she gave me her number, and she said, call me tomorrow. Okay, here we go. And we started to read the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous word for word, with no words in between that I think should be there. None of that other stuff. The black print on the white page. And when it said to do something, we did it. And I started to get better. The kid situation was still a little bit jacked up, right? Because I didn't know there's a lot of damage there. There's a ton of damage there. So she just said, we're going to do what's right in front of us. And I stayed sober for 2 years doing that. I did everything with this woman. Everything, meetings, laughed, supper, we're inseparable. And one day that woman broke my trust in a way I don't even know how to describe it. And I went back out drinking. I said, screw you guys. I knew this was a bunch of BS. Everyone's fake. The real you will come out eventually. And I was gone out of here. And it's really hard to sit at the bar and know the solution of Alcoholics Anonymous is what's the glue to your life, looking over my shoulder at Cumberland Farms, trying to, read the back of the chips because I see someone from AA come in there and I don't want them to see me. Even they already know, because I'm gone. No one sees me anymore. No one has any idea where Blair is. She's just gone. And I did that for a long time. I'm 41 now, and everything that I had gained in Alcoholics Anonymous was gone. Just like that. Gave it all away again. I owe the landlord $2,000 in back rent. I don't have a car. I can't remember the codes to work. I'm filled with fear. Scared to live, scared to die, don't know what to do, breaking mirrors, all that stuff is back. And the last night that I had gone out, I had seen this guy at the bar, and he was a total a-hole. He's me. He's me. God showed me exactly who I am. And I said, I didn't want to be here anymore. And I came home in this little apartment that I'm in now. And I looked in the mirror and I did not see anyone. I saw everything behind me. And it scared me because I was exactly who I wanted to be. No one. And I knew deep down in my heart that that was wrong. I knew that I wanted to be someone. I knew when I was doing Alcoholics Anonymous in the years prior, I was someone. I was worthy of something. So the next day, I came crawling back to AA, filled with fear, filled with anger. Ooh, was I angry. And there was a meeting around the corner from my house, and I walked there, right? Because I don't have a car anymore. I don't have a car. I'm looking for eviction notices on the door. I'm a mess. And I walk in there and, you know, there's a couple of people that I recognize, a lot of new people. And I just started swearing, letting it all out. And they had a little bell on the table. You're going to ring the bell because you can't swear anymore. And I was just like, ring the bell. I had all kinds of anger going on. And they just said, it's nice to see you again. We'll see you tomorrow. And in my heart, I was like dying to hear that from someone. And at the same time, I said, I don't want to, you know. I just kept coming back. And I started to get healthy again. And I'm like, I'm on the right path, you know? And I so desperately didn't want this to be the answer. I didn't want to come back here, but I knew. And I was 8 months sober, and my daughter asked if she could come live with me in this little one room efficiency apartment that I got. And I shared it with the people in AA in the meetings, because I knew that other women in this program had been through that, and I couldn't do it alone. I said, help me. What do I do? And I didn't have a sponsor at that time because I didn't know who to ask. I had the whole I don't trust women ordeal going on again. And so I leaned on the guys like I always do, right? Because they keep me safe. Because as soon as I start drinking, I'm not safe, and I need people to protect me from me and from whatever else is going to happen in my life. So I leaned on the guys in AA, and until I was willing to have a normal relationship with a woman, let a woman in my life, you know. And I'm not the only one in here that has a jacked up relationship with their mom, right? That's where it all comes from. And so my daughter moves in, and I'm sitting across the counter from her, and I have no idea what to say to her. How do I talk to her? I don't even know who she is. You know, she looks like me, looks like dad. I have no idea who she is. So I got to know her by playing phase 10. So I didn't know how to talk to her. All the drinking and drugs I had done, and I don't know how to live a normal life. I don't know how to be a mom. I didn't know how to do any of that stuff. You know, but I would sign on to Zoom meetings, and she would be in the background, and I could focus on this, but I could still have her here. And I tried to balance it all out. And I was 11 months sober, and I said, I need a sponsor. And I asked that same woman to be my sponsor again. And people thought I was crazy. They're like, why are you doing that? She burned you. Because she stayed sober through that, and I didn't. And I wanted to stay sober. So I want what she has. We started to do it all over again. Black print, white page, word for word. And for step one, she had me write down the progression of my alcoholism. And I got to see on paper what my life looks like when I'm drinking. It's horrifying. And I got to see on paper the truth about who I am. Because my brain lies, right? My brain says, oh, you can justify it. I can do all these different things. I do this because you do that. No, that's not how it works. You know, and I got to see the real me, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. And she said, are you willing to go to any length to stay sober? And I said, yes. Because I knew if I went back out again, I'm not walking through this door again. There's no way. There's no way I'm coming back if I decide to pick up. I'm done. And I want to live. I want to live today. And she said, all right, this is what we're gonna do, you know? And then I had step 2, came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. And I didn't realize that I was insane, because my life is normal, right? Like the book says, my alcoholic life is normal. I'm not insane. This is where I live my whole life. But on paper, there's a couple short circuits there, for sure. And, I was willing to believe that I could be restored to sanity, because I had seen it happen before. And I had to make a decision every day to turn my life over to God. I didn't even know what God was. So my sponsor had me write down the characteristics of what God was. I didn't argue with it. I didn't have a crazy church upbringing or whatever. It was real simple. Did you make the sun come out today? No. All right. Well, there's your answer. It was really simple for me. That wasn't a big deal. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what it is. I know I didn't make the sun come out today. It was that simple. And that was the beginning of a God relationship. That was it. And she said, good, you're going to pray every day. I said, okay, well, see what happens. I had no idea. I just know that my way wasn't working. So I had to try something different. And I had answered yes when she said, are you willing to go to any length? I didn't know what it meant, but here we go. And man, it's crazy. And then I made a fearless inventory, right? And she said, and I had heard at all these meetings, I'm scared of step 4. I'm scared of step 4. It's all the stuff that I'd done my whole life. I'm carrying on my shoulders. I already know what it all is. Just got to write it down. And my sponsor gave me a time limit for that. Thank God she did. Because I could stew on all the dumb things I've done, all the damage I've caused to my kids, my family. I can stew on that and pour me all over again. She said, what's eating you up on the inside right now? And that's the stuff that I wrote down. And then I had to share that with her. She gave me 2 weeks, a month at the longest. A little bit here, find something else to do. A little bit here, write down a little bit at lunchtime and then go back to work. And I did that to the best of my ability. And when I was done, we sat at the pellet stove and I told her all that stuff. And I was okay in doing that because I knew that she was human too, because we had been through some stuff before, so I could see that she was human and she had flaws too. And, and in that whole process of 4, 5, 6, and 7, for me, when we did that together, I realized that when I went back out drinking before, I had made her my higher power. That's what I learned. from when I went from the second time I had gone out drinking. I didn't have a God of my own. I was okay when I was with this woman, so I had made her my higher power. But in how it works, it says there's no human power that's going to relieve me of my alcoholism. I learned that the hard way. But I'm grateful. I'm super grateful, because had I not gone through that, I wouldn't have found that higher power in my life. I wouldn't have. So every time someone reads how it works and it says there's A, B, and C, there's no human power that's going to relieve me of my alcoholism, I close my eyes every time. Every time. Because I've always thought I was better than you or worse than you. I never in my life thought that we're all the same. Trying to stay sober today. That thought never even crossed my mind. So I learned that, and, step 8, that's all the people that are on 4, right? I gotta make a list of people that I had hurt. I've already done that. There's a few more that we added along the way. And then it's time to make amends. And that's where I'm at in my life right now. I'm making some crazy amends right now in my life. I don't know why it's happening. I have no idea what is happening. I just look for God throughout the day and I say, put me where I'm supposed to be so I can do whatever you need me to do. Because, and I'll just tell you about a couple of amends that I'm making. That little girl, my youngest is 16. And she's mad at me. She's mad at me right now. And that's okay. It's fine. But she's going to move halfway across the country with her boyfriend and her boyfriend's parents. And I have to be the one that signs the papers for her to go. And I have no idea who these two parents are, but because of this program and a good sponsor and a higher power and Alcoholics Anonymous, I was able to call that mom and say, what are your intentions? With a soft voice. And she said, I don't really have any. I'm just trying to get through the day. But your daughter is welcome to come with us. I think she's a fantastic kid. I don't know how to, that's Alcoholics Anonymous working in my life. Being able to pick up that phone and say, hey, I know I haven't been the best mom, but I am her mother. And I want to make sure that she's safe. That's Alcoholics Anonymous, for sure. Because I want to run, or I want to go over there and say, this is my kid, even though I don't have any room for her at my house. And I don't have to do that. And I got a 22-year-old daughter that I haven't talked to in maybe a year and a half. And she wrote me this, us women, big, long text messages, right? Big 8-page message. And tell me what a horrible person I was and that she doesn't want anything to do with me. And last week she messaged me and said, I'd like to get to know you. So one's leaving and one's coming back, and I didn't respond for 2 days because I needed to talk to God, because that's what people in Alcoholics Anonymous have taught me, that God has my answers. That's what my sponsor has taught me. She says, I don't know what's right for you. But I know that you have a personal connection with God, and that's where you're going to get your answers. Prayer, meditation, self-reflection, all that stuff. That's where all the answers come from. I got to ask, I got to listen, and I got to make sure I'm where I'm supposed to be. So when this stuff happens, that I'm in fit spiritual condition to be able to answer these calls like this. And it took me 2 days to respond, and I FaceTimed her, and for the first time in her 22-year-old life, I saw that little girl for who she was and not the old me. I've never seen that little girl for who she is. I've always seen her as the defects of me, the worst part of me. And that's not real. That's my alcoholism. Because alcohol is but a symptom. It's my perception that's jacked up. And God's making me vulnerable right now to all of that. But God's love. And in my heart, I can feel that now. There's no price tag for it. It's so scary. But I don't have to walk through it alone. And I got a sponsor I can call, and I got a God that I can talk to any time of the day, even if I'm in the bathroom at work. I don't have to do this alone. I'm super grateful, to be able to sit here in front of a bunch of people and my eyes water that I don't know, but that's a gift. They always say, oh, give your feelings back. That's good and bad. Well, but I want it because that means I'm living. That means this program of Alcoholics Anonymous works when I'm willing to work it. On 10, 11, and 12, page 86, upon awakening, there's some stuff you do, right? You write out a prayer, you talk to God, you say, remove all the stuff that's in the way of being who you need me to be. You pick a color for the day, as my sponsor taught me. I don't do it every day, but, I pick a color and I say, thank you, God, I stop and I say, thank you. And it's usually yellow because I blow through red lights, and it gives me a chance to stop and look around and say, thank you for the life that I have. Because for years I didn't want it. And prayer and meditation. One you ask and one you listen. Not great at the listening one, but it's practice. And I don't have to do it perfectly. I just have to do better than I did last time. And if I'm willing to try and do better, I'm going to get better. But whatever I focus on grows. So I need to be in the solution of Alcoholics Anonymous. Because that's going to grow. And I want it to grow because the rewards that I've gotten from being a part of this and showing up and being honest, it's unbelievable. In 12, you find someone who's struggling, because it's our job, which I totally suck at, and somewhere in the book it says we were approached by people that had the solution. I don't do well at that part, but I'm willing to show up and tell you that I do have hope, because I do. I absolutely have hope, and I have been restored to sanity, even though that sounds crazy to people that are close to me in my life. They'd be like, what? But, I'm employable today. They call me Charlie the Spirit Warrior at work because I smile all the time. All the time. I have great relationships with people now. And I'll end with this. When I came back to Alcoholics Anonymous, I had one tooth on the top, and I had massive problems with my teeth. Because of this program, people in this community that I live in came up with a certain amount of money, and I have dentures. It's a we. And I would talk to my sponsor about that, and I would say, why? Because I had all my teeth pulled out, and for 8 months I didn't have any, and I felt like I was using again. I would look in the mirror and I would want to break it. And she's like, I said, why is it like this? What is this all about? And she didn't have an answer. She said, sometimes we don't drink no matter what. And all I had to do was ask for help, and it was there. But I'm too stubborn. I got this. Anytime I say that, I'm blowing in the fan. It's no good. Because it's a we. It's a we. And I'm grateful. That is a we, because I don't ever want to do this life thing alone. No. Absolutely not. And if you're struggling today, you're worth it. You're worth not drinking. You're absolutely worth it. And if you don't believe that, it's okay. We know you're worth it. And no one's done anything where they're ever going to turn you away from here. This is my second home. And I used to hate all those cliche sayings. Oh, my second home, I got a life second to none, all this stuff. It's so true. It's so true. Today, I don't want anyone else's life but my own. And I'm grateful to be able to show up for it. And for all the people that got here before me, thank you for sticking around and showing us that this program works. If no one was here when I got here, what would I have done? You know? So that's enough out of me. Thank you so much for letting me share. Have a fantastic evening.